You just flatlined. 1 second your heart was beating, and now it's not. No warning, no countdown, just silence where a pulse used to be. In medical terms, you are now clinically dead. But your brain? Your brain hasn't gotten the memo. Over the next 7 minutes, something is going to happen inside your skull that scientists are only now beginning to understand, and what they're finding is challenging everything we thought we knew about what death actually is. This is the minute-by-minute story of your brain's final act, and it is nothing like going dark. Here's what medical textbooks will tell you. When your heart stops, blood pressure drops to zero almost immediately. Within seconds, the flow of oxygenated blood to your brain slows to a trickle, then stops. Your brain, which consumes roughly 20% of your body's oxygen despite being only 2% of your mass, is now running on fumes. At about 10 to 20 seconds, your cortex goes electrically quiet on a standard EEG. By the textbook definition, the lights just went out. Except that's not what actually happens. In 2023, a team at the University of Michigan removed 4 comatose patients from life support and recorded their brain activity as their hearts stopped. 2 of those patients did something no one expected. Their brains didn't go quiet, they got louder. Within seconds of cardiac arrest, researchers detected an explosion of gamma wave activity, 30 to 100 hertz, concentrated in what neuroscientists call the posterior hot zone. That's the junction of the temporal, parietal, and occipital lobes. And it's the exact same region that lights up when you're dreaming, when you're meditating, and when you're having a conscious experience. This wasn't noise. This wasn't random dying neurons misfiring. This was organized, structured, more coherent than anything these patients' brains had produced in hours. The lead researcher, Dr. Jimo Borjigian, described it as the brain generating a level of connectivity that looked like heightened consciousness, not the absence of it. Now, hold that thought, because in a minute, we're going to get to what that surge might actually feel like from the inside. What it means for the question everyone's actually asking, is there something after? A year earlier, in 2022, a neurosurgeon named Dr. Ajmal Zemar published something extraordinary. An 87-year-old man with epilepsy was being monitored with a continuous EEG, routine procedure. During the recording, he suffered a sudden, fatal heart attack. The machine kept running. And for the first time in history, scientists had a complete neural recording of a human brain in the act of dying. What Zemar found was haunting. In the 30 seconds before and after the heart stopped, the man's brain produced a cascade of gamma oscillations, the same frequency we see during memory retrieval, dreaming, and meditation. Zemar's conclusion: careful, measured, but extraordinary. The brain may be performing one final organized act of memory recall, a last look back. Your life doesn't flash before your eyes in some Hollywood highlight reel. The brain appears to choose differently. Survivors of cardiac arrest don't report seeing their wedding or their promotion. They describe small things: a specific afternoon, a meal with someone they loved, a moment so unremarkable they'd never thought about it again. The kind of thing you didn't think anyone was recording. Apparently, your brain was. Meanwhile, your body has its own agenda. While your brain is running its last broadcast, the rest of you has already started to shut down. Without oxygen, cells switch to anaerobic respiration, a backup system that produces lactic acid and very little energy. Your cellular pH drops. The environment becomes acidic. And those tiny organelles inside your cells called lysosomes, the ones that normally recycle waste, begin to rupture. Their digestive enzymes spill out, and your cells begin to eat themselves from the inside. This is autolysis. Self-digestion. It's quiet, it's chemical, and it's already happening while your brain is still producing gamma waves upstairs. But here's where it gets stranger. Your dying brain isn't just electrically active, it's chemically flooding itself. Research suggests the brain releases a cocktail of neurochemicals in its final moments. Endorphins, the body's natural painkillers, flood the system, potentially explaining the overwhelming sense of peace that nearly every cardiac arrest survivor describes. Source 8. Serotonin levels spike, which may drive the vivid visual hallucinations, the tunnels, the lights, the phases. Adrenaline and noradrenaline surge as part of a last-ditch fight-or-flight response, possibly fueling the heightened, hyper-real awareness that survivors say feels more real than real life. And then there's DMT. You've probably heard the theory that your brain releases a massive dose of dimethyltryptamine as you die, producing a psychedelic experience that accounts for the transcendent visions people report. It's a compelling idea. It's also, as of right now, unproven in humans. Animal studies confirm the brain can produce DMT, but there's no confirmed evidence it reaches psychoactive levels during human death, and the popular claim that it's released by the pineal gland lacks scientific support. The honest answer? We don't know exactly what causes the experience. We know the chemistry is real. We know the electricity is real. We just can't peer inside the subjective window yet. Which brings us to the largest study ever conducted on consciousness during death. The AWARE study, Awareness During Resuscitation, was led by Dr. Sam Parnia across 25 hospitals. Its second phase, AWARE-2, tracked 567 cardiac arrest cases and used portable EEG monitoring during active CPR. What they found redefined the conversation. Some patients, people who were clinically dead, no heartbeat, no measurable brain function, later recalled specific details of their own resuscitation. What doctors said, what equipment was used, events they should have had zero awareness of. Parnia's conclusion: consciousness doesn't blink out like a switch. It appears to persist in some form, even when every clinical instrument says you're gone. Now, here's the part that should change how you think about the next 120 seconds of this timeline. Between minute 1 and minute 6, you are in biological limbo. Your brain cells are damaged but not destroyed. CPR during this window can restore blood flow, halt the decay, and, in some cases, bring you back with your mind intact. Only about 10% of people who suffer out-of-hospital cardiac arrest survive. Partly because bystander CPR happens in fewer than half of cases. Every minute without it drops survival by 10%. That means the difference between dead and alive often comes down to whether someone nearby knew what to do in the first 4 minutes. And then, if rescue doesn't come, the final event begins. It's called terminal spreading depolarization. Scientists sometimes call it the wave of death. It's a massive tsunami-like electrical wave that sweeps across the cortex. Neurons that have been holding onto their charge, maintaining their membrane potential, staying technically alive, finally let go, one by one, then all at once. The ion gradients collapse. The membrane potentials fail, and the wave propagates outward like a signal being sent. This is the line. This is the moment that separates clinical death from biological death. And here's what makes it remarkable. Until this wave completes, brain cells remain viable. If blood flow is restored before the wave finishes its path, some researchers believe recovery may still be possible. The wave of death isn't instant. It's a process. And that process has a window. So, what actually happens in the last 7 minutes of your brain? Here's what we know. Your brain surges. It produces organized gamma activity in the regions responsible for consciousness, memory, and dreams. It floods itself with endorphins, serotonin, and adrenaline. Some people, in that window, appear to experience something structured, something they later describe as more vivid than waking life. And here's what we don't know. Whether that surge is a conscious experience or just an echo, whether the memories survivors report are generated in those final seconds or reconstructed afterward, whether what happens in that window is the brain saying goodbye, or something else entirely. Even after you die, parts of your brain don't stop. Zombie genes, inflammatory glial cells, ramp up their activity for hours, growing arm-like appendages to clean up what's left. They peak at 12 hours after death. 80% of your brain's genes remain stable for a full 24 hours. Death, it turns out, is not a moment. It's a process, and your brain is the last thing to accept it. The question everyone asks is there something after? Science can't answer that. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But what it can tell you is this. In the last moments of your brain's life, it doesn't panic. It doesn't dissolve into chaos. It organizes. It remembers. It reaches back through decades of stored experience and, for reasons we still don't fully understand, it chooses the smallest, quietest moments to hold on to. Not the awards, not the milestones. The afternoon it rained and you did nothing and it was perfect. Maybe that's worth knowing while you're still here. If this changes how you think about any of this, subscribe and learn CPR. Seriously, you might be someone's 4-minute window.